How's it going, guys? Welcome back to TheBlueShifting. Welcome back to Muv-Luv Monday, where we are continuing the day after episode 3. So, yeah, last episode was really interesting. A lot of conspiracy going on, a lot of implications that there has been some kind of foresight that was given to the Supreme Leader. So, yeah, a lot of interesting things going on. It's going to be interesting to see how, this story conveys some of that in the future, or if it even will. We also saw that Ellen had a PTSD relapse when the light suddenly cut off because of power distribution issues. So, it looks like she's drowning her sorrows away, which, honestly, I don't blame her. So, yeah, let's see how things kind of wrap up here and see what's going to be over the horizon for our merry band of people who are facing yet another set of catastrophes. Feels like it's just never ending. Just one after another after another. But yeah, thank you guys so much for joining me. Hope you guys are having a good day. Let's get this party started. It's the spot. Been forever since I last had a proper drink. It's like the 9th time she said that line. The nth time, not the 9th, the nth time.
こんなお店知って何に使うつもりだったのよ。
Ain't the first time I heard this one either.
さては。私を口説こうったってそうはいかないからね。言ったでしょ。私はついでは嫌なの。
Yeah, that fanboys, it's not easy. You gotta work for it.
飲みすぎだぞ。もうやめとけ。
何よ、まだ1杯目よ。
Oh, sure.
弱すぎだろ。だからやめとけって言ってんの。
Ellen's told me she wanted to bounce to another place after what happened, but I see that was a bad idea because I ended up babysitting a drunk.
で、どうしてこんな店知ってるのよ。誰口説く気だったの。
He's like,
前に松風と偶然入ったことがあるんだよ。それだけだ。ここはあそこみたいな大衆酒場じゃねえし、ブレーカーを落とすような真似はしないだろうと思って連れてきたんだよ。
Man, everything's so darn expensive here. This is where all the rich people come to get wasted. Well, I wasn't in the right state of mind to notice when I came with Matsukaze. I ended up having a single beer, I think.
で、さっきのは何なんだよ。ありゃ普通じゃねえぞ。
Right.
正体を預かる者として聞く。腹くくって白状しろ。あれは PTSD じゃないのか。
まあ、そうとも言うかな。
きっかけは何だ。
上での漂流生活。バビロン作戦の時の。
Yeah. That's the thing. Space is cool, but it's one of the most terrifying places I think you could ever get stuck. Even if, I don't know which would be worse, being stuck in orbit, knowing that if you fall, you're likely just not going to make it. And if you're left alone, you're not going to make it. Or being stuck underground, trapped in a tunnel. I don't know which one's worse. Having the pressure of all that above you, that crushing depths, or the weightless oblivion and just slow wasting of space. I think I'd take space preferably, but that's because I love space. I'd be like, if I could pick where I'd die, space is a good choice, honestly. But as far as terrifying ways to go, it's up there. Because at least with things like drowning, you you have the struggle, but then you have the slow unconsciousness, right? And burning would be horrifically painful, but it's fairly quick. Slow starvation and exposure death in space or in a cave, I think would honestly be the worst.
漂流？そういえば前に。
電磁波の嵐。降下中の部隊は計器に異常を起こし、大気圏で燃え尽き、軌道上を周回していた私たちは地上に降りる術を失った。
Oh, man.
私たちが接続されていた装甲駆逐艦も混乱の最中に接触事故を起こして大気圏突入が不可能になっていた。変貌していく地球と減っていく酸素。地上との通信は断絶し、仲間同士が通話するのでさえ困難な状態が続いた。
God, like slow, like that's the worst part too. Like watching your reserves slowly fade away, hardly being able to contact anybody.
フライングコフィンってオービットダイバーズは揶揄されるけど、あの時はそれで正解だった。本当に棺桶に閉じ込められた気分だったわ。
Like I was saying before, like reentries are tough. Because even like if you think about an asteroid, like we had a fairly large asteroid that entered and over Russia. Oh, I think it was in 2013, 2014. I can't remember. But it was a very large, like size of like I think a couple buses, and it fell through the atmosphere. And so, like, it's a big hunk of rock and mostly iron. And it came flying through the atmosphere. But, like, the heat and the pressure differentials that you experience when you come crashing through the atmosphere were so intense that something that large imploded before it even hit the ground. So it just, like, it just ruptured and like, broke a bunch of windows, but it didn't actually cause a crater because it just obliterated itself on the atmosphere when the atmosphere got too thick. So, yeah, they're in a flying coffin, but the thing is the guidance system is required because the way you come into an atmosphere makes a big difference. Just a slight deviation and it'll send you tumbling. You know, tumbling, anything that's built in to try and protect you from like the actual like interaction with the atmosphere is practically useless. And so what she's describing, she might have been in a re-entry pod, but without guidance systems, like, you'd just be throwing dice. If you could even launch yourself, which sounds like they couldn't even do, but even if they could, it'd be like rolling dice just to hope you fell properly, because chances were you weren't.
そういうこと。G 弾投下で地球がおかしくなっちゃったもんだから、しばらくの間、漂流生活を余儀なくされたのよ。
Dang.
そうか。それで何日？
3週間ぐらいかしら。
God, fetch, could you imagine? Yeah, alright, that explains her PSD. Surface pilots are used to waiting on standby inside their TSFs for days, but that doesn't even come close to what she had to go through.
で、暗闇がダメなのか？
いきなりそうなっちゃうとね。覚悟した上でならまだいいんだけど。
So most evenings are okay, but when it's like, goes from bright to sudden blackness, ugh.
でも、眠るときは別ね。一人でいると、夢の中で、あの時のことが蘇ってきて。
And that's why,
どうしようもなくなるわ。
that explains a lot about her, like, closeness and wanting to do all those snuggle sessions with Miyono.
もしかして、いつもミオノと一緒にいるのって。
雫には内緒ね。可愛くてたまらないからってことにしてるし、あの子もまんざらじゃないから。
Okay.
まあ、あいつはあいつでいろいろあるからな。
Yeah, imagine growing up in an orphanage, you kind of grow up being close to other kids, and so, like, whilst it might be uncomfortable in the growing process, after you leave it, you might miss it a bit. Miyono wants to be accepted, needed, to form connections with other people. She wants that so much, it can blind her to what's actually going on in front of her eyes. That's also why she adores Lieutenant Ogami, not only because they're both from Suno, but also because it was a chance to bond with someone outside the unit. In the end, we all have to work through our issues somehow.
どうして処置してもらわないんだよ。俺が言うのもなんだけど、いろいろと整理できるぜ。
I don't know though, Hibiki, you did eventually go see a specialist.
そんな贅沢、私には許されていないのよ。
贅沢？
なんてね。本当は怖いから。
見えすいた嘘つくなよ。贅沢が許されないってどういう意味だ？
なんて言うかな。響にもいろいろあったでしょ。シアトル来るまでに。
Yeah.
誰にだってそういうものの一つや二つあるわよ。それを抱えたまま元気に振る舞える人もいれば、心の傷に潰される人もいる。
Yeah. I could see me being the one that gets crushed, unfortunately.
中には傷にすら価値を感じて大事にしておきたい人だっている。私みたいに？
Yeah. You don't want to forget because whilst it's terrifyingly and terrible, like it's terrible in every way, it reminds you of the things you learned. You learned about treasuring life, enjoying the moment, being grateful every day for every breath you take. And you might not want to give that up, even if it's causing you pain. Sometimes you want to keep the scars.
あと、怖いっていうのも嘘じゃないわ。ちょっと意味が違うけど。
Alan's trying to evade the issue, so I shouldn't press things any further. I don't want to end up damaging our relationship for good.
軍務に実害がないならそれでいいよ。個人的には心配だけどな。
I like that. I'm worried for you as a friend.
あら、ありがとう。まあ、確かにさ、不思議ではあるのよね。私、別に狭くて暗い空間に閉じ込められていたわけじゃなくて、すごく恵まれてたのよね。
Yeah, because she didn't have to deal with, like, the chaos on the planet.
地球の異常をこの目に焼き付けたし、大解放で欧州が水没するのも見た。フランス革命の声明も聞いたわ。目の前で何億人もの人が死んでいく中、私はしっかりと生きていられたわけ。
God, that's terrifying.
オービットダイバーになってあの時軌道にいた。ただそれだけで私たちはあの地獄から逃げさせてもらえたのよね。
Yeah, that's the irony. She was in, like, one of the most, like, deadly assignments. Like, remember the chicken divers is about people who managed to do more than, like, what was it, like, 4 dives? Because the odds are just not, like, it was like a 20% survival rate. And so you had to be really, really lucky to survive all of them. And so she was on, like, one of the most deadly missions you could go on. But she ended up being in one of the safest places during the chaos.
駆逐艦の操縦士はリーナっていう女性でさ、全力でケアしてくれてさ。なのに暗闇がダメとか、一人がダメとか、そんな風になる理屈はどこにもないってのに。どうしてなのかしらね。
Yeah. PTSD usually is diagnosed after you show a bunch of peculiar symptoms for some time. She was likely afraid of the dark and of being alone long before, though to a much lesser extent. Yeah, so she might have had... Oh gosh, have you ever had that experience where, like, you go to sleep, you fall asleep somewhere that's not your home? And either because of weather or because of where you are, or like maybe curtains over the windows, you wake up and it's really, really dark. And you wake up and you don't remember where you are, and you just know that you're not where you normally are, and it's like you get to have that panic moment for a bit until like your memories kind of like chug back into focus. I imagine she experienced something like that, like just being somewhere dark where she, like if she woke up and she's unfamiliar and in the dark, she'd find it like disconcerting, but that ballooned into something much greater. In her case, it really was a blessing in disguise she was off planet when the world went to crap. At the same time, maybe her illness manifested precisely because the guilt's been eating her from the inside. Not like a single orbital diver could made much of a difference, but no one ever said survivor's guilt is supposed to make sense. At any rate, it's obvious she's still trying to get over her issues. Not prying any further is definitely the right course of action.
とにかく、俺の結論は言った通りだ。軍務に実害がなければそれでいい。でも、個人的には心配してる。何かあったらいつでも言ってくれ。
ありがとう。
それでいい加減お前が最初にしたかった話に移ろうぜ。
それもそうね。じゃあヒビキ、目を閉じなさい。
I sense a
両手はテーブ
deflection.
ルの上に置いて。
I sense a deflection.
あ？
いいから早く。
What is this now?
うおお
Yeah, I thought so.
面白い。ヒビキってば耳が弱いんだ。
ば、ちげえよ、驚いただけだっての。
じゃあもう一回やってみる？
もう
Cry the core. What is cry the core? That's pretty good. That's a good still right there.
やっぱり弱いんじゃん。何今の女の子みたいな声上げちゃって。
うるせえ、帰るぞもう。
冗談よ冗談。重苦しい雰囲気を変えてあげたんじゃない。
And she's right.
他にやりようがあるだろうが、この酔っ払い。
ごめんなさ
This chick is driving me nuts.
い。いやそれで私の話なんだけど、自分なりに解決しちゃったんだよね。
Hmm.
どういうことだよ。
私、ゆずかのパパに対する態度があまりに理解できなかったから距離を置きたいと思ってたのよ。
Oh.
もちろん命令には従う。でも背中を預けることが不安になっちゃったの。ああ、待って。そんな子供じみた話が許されるとは思ってない。だからちゃんと向かい合いたくて、ゆずかのことが知りたかったのよ。
そうか。
でもゆずかとどうやって話をしようかって、それを他で考えようと思ったら響がいたってわけ。
Okay, I see.
結局今日は夕食にも顔を出さなかったから、ほんとゆずかは固くなよね。さっきゆずかのパパの話をしたでしょ。それを聞いたらなんとなく彼女の気持ちが分かったような気がしたの。
Right.
ゆずかのパパが見ているものは多分人じゃなくて組織とかそういう全体なんだよね。そしてパパはそれに価値を見出してる。
I see. So that could have been the foundation of it. He never had time for the little things like the people in his life because he was so focused on the big stuff.
中にはさ、家族や自分が大事でそのために仕事を頑張って、でも結果としてそれをないがしろにしちゃってるかわいそうな人もいるけど、ゆずかのパパは違う。彼がそういう人なら家族の生死をあそこまで軽く捉えたりしない。
Right.
ゆずかはそれを理解してる。何が正しいかじゃなくて、二人の求めているものは違うのよ。親子であっても。私なりにそう感じたから、もうゆずかへの不安はないの。むしろゆずかは私を命がけで守ってくれると思えてる。
Yeah, she's made that pretty clear up till now, but it could be tough. It could be tough because life and death not things you toy with.
確かにあいつは自分よりも誰かのために生きようとするんだ。その理由は、なるほど、そういうことなのかもな。
She's rebelling against her father, trying to show him that she won't accept his way of thinking, that she will protect those dear to her.
ねえ、響のお父さんは何してたの？
親父ね。普通の親父つってもわかんねえか。俺んちは魚屋だったんだ。下町のな。
下町？
いわゆる庶民が昔から住み続けてる歴史のあるエリアだ。日本は建物でも町でも平気で古いものを壊して新しいものにしちまうんだ。それに合わせて人も動くんだけど、下町はあまりそういうことがない。
Gotcha. Is that why it's like... But it's interesting because there are places where there's a lot of like either restored or maintained architecture, but it is probably primarily restricted to temples and palaces. So I imagine there's a lot of infrastructure that just doesn't exist anymore.
だから何十年も前からご近所さんみたいなのが普通にあってさ、なんでもあけすけなんだよな。
By the way, I like how this is like a real life picture rather than like one full of like animated people.
へえ、そこで魚屋をやってたんだ。
なあ、毎朝築地、でっかい市場まで行って仕入れてきて、朝っつっても4時起きとかでさ。
Ugh, that sounds terrible.
ああ、そういうの知ってるわ。どこでも同じね。
そうだな。それじゃあ多分魚屋が辿った運命も同じようなもんだろうな。残念ながら俺が中学、ジュニアハイスクールに上がる前に廃業したよ。海洋汚染がひどくなっちまってさ。
Oh man. Dang.
ああ、 AL 弾の。
Right. Again, those G-bombs, they're not fun. They don't mess around.
本当の原因は今でもわからんけど、そういういろんなことがトラブルを引き起こして、漁業自体が衰退しちまったんだ。そのうち実際に海洋汚染は進んで、新鮮な魚は手に入らなくなって。
Dang. Pay attention, people. This is where we're heading.
魚を売る商売人として、そんなものは扱えねえって、親父が決断したんだ。3、4代は続いてた店なんだけど。
そう。もしかして、響が食料事情をいろいろと心配するのは、そういうことも影響してるのかしら。
なあ、俺そんなに飯にこだわってるかな。松風にも言われたんだが。
Oh, wow.
印象としてはちょっとあるかもね。何しろ大陸横断した英雄様だから。どれだけ食料調達で苦労したかはみんな知ってるしね。
Oh, man, they really did go full Donner Party, didn't they? He's suppressing that.
ああ、そうか。一時期随分とそこをクローズアップされたっけ。そういうことか。
見事なプロパガンダよね。そのおかげで市民からの文句が随分減ったって話じゃない。
Oh, that was clever.
そっか、謎が解けたわ。で、親父の話だったな。で、魚屋を閉めたわけだ。
ええ。
で、これからどうするって矢先に事故で死んじまったよ。
Aw.
そうだったの。
気にするな。いつの話だと思ってるんだよ。ちなみに、そこから先は母ちゃんの武勇伝が色々とあってな。親父が割と拳で語るやつだったせいか、生きてる時はおとなしかったんだよ。
Right.
一度、母ちゃんの飯がまずいって言ったら、母ちゃん泣いちまってさ、飛んできた親父に必殺の脳天空竹割りを食らって気絶したことがある。
Jeez. That's like, he could have killed him.
脳天空竹割り？
チョップだよ、チョップ。脳天に、こう、上からズビシッと来るんだよ。
Jeez.
俺の身長が止まったのは、その時のチョップが原因なんて噂されるほどの威力だったんだぜ。
That actually explains a lot.
うわ。
それでな、母ちゃんなんだけど、親父が死んだ途端、被ってた猫が1匹、また1匹と去っていってたな。あれはそう。親父の魂が乗り移ったなんて噂されるほどで。
Really?
響の家って、いろいろ噂が絶えないのね。
Yeah.
気がついたら、商店街のおかみさん連中集めて、いろいろ仕切ってたよ。
She like made a like a matriarchal yakuza?
飯がまずいなんて言おうもんなら、超至近距離、静止状態からのラリアットが炸裂するんだぜ。
Jeez.
俺も背が小さいし、母ちゃんは腕が細いから、上げた腕が見事に喉に入るわけよ。何度呼吸が止まったことか。
Okay.
すごいわね。でも楽しそう。
Yeah, sure. Just physical altercations with your parents. Perfectly fun.
ああ、楽しかったよ。軍に入隊してからも、暇見つけちゃ帰ってたな。
Well, I loved him, that's for sure. Wish I still could. I'd love to see Mom one more time. Crap. Of course, I never bothered to confirm her whereabouts. That's how I've been trying to keep the hope alive.
あれ？ひょっとして、ママに甘えたくなっちゃったの？
ちげえよ。
Oh, come on. That's something to be ashamed of.
怪しいな。いいのよ。この胸に甘えてみても。
Oh, no. Oh, no! Dang. They have their own gravitational pull.
目が怖い、目が。
怖くねえよ。キラキラしてるよ。
嘘。だって充血してるもの。
酒のせいだ、酒の。
なんなら今夜は、響が私の不安を消してくれる？朝まで二人きり。
Come on, dude. I don't know. I can turn that down.
かわいい。
No!
Stop teasing me already! I don't think she's teasing, man. I think it's an offer. Musica, how are you doing? Oh, hello.
それでは妥協点が見つからないではないか。我々は可能な限り譲歩している。
提案された数字はあまりにも低すぎ、検討に値しない。我が国の民に飢えて死ねと言っているのと同じだ。
武装解除に応じれば、現在より食料供給量の積み増しは検討できる。だが、
Yeah.
軍事力の保持は我が国の正当な権利である。ベータの脅威が深刻化した今、武装解除に応じるつもりはない。仮に解除するにしても、先に支援物資を確認しなければ応じられるはずもない。米日の要求は過当である。
なぜだ。なぜこうもフランスは強気なのか。これではまるで交渉をまとめるつもりがないように思える。
They might be.
少佐、これをご覧ください。
確認が取れたのだな。
間違いありません。連中が国境に展開しているのはダミーですよ。ちくしょう、フロッギーども、こっちを出し抜くつもりです。
Oh, that's interesting.
各セクションの代表を招集しろ。事態を正確に把握する必要がある。
了解。
シアトル駐留、日本帝国軍も呼び出せ。急げよ。
Oh no, they wouldn't. Because maybe he's not trying to sabotage the peace talks. Well, he is, but not in the way of like trying to sabotage them and make them fail. And maybe they are, but I think it's more about delaying them, keeping all the eyes focused on that.
了解。
I kind of was mentioning that, but I was thinking they were trying to get rid of Hibiki and some of the other people. But maybe that's not entirely it. Maybe they're thinking on the macro scale.
もう一度繰り返させてもらおう。我々は譲歩している。本来であれば、帰国が強奪した東海岸の物資の即時返却を要求せねばならないところなのだ。だが、来年の収穫が終わるまで、その件についてアメリカ政府は触れない。それがどれだけの譲歩であるか理解してほしい。
我々の前にどれだけの物資を積むことができるか。交渉できるのはその量についてだけだ。
支援物資の量も最大限に譲歩している。
こちらももう一度繰り返させてもらう。その量は少なすぎる。
Because they're gonna like intentionally make the negotiations fail, and when they're declared a failure and put on like recess perhaps, then they have a strike team a go.
ご出席の皆様、先ほどから交渉が平行線になっております。一度休憩にしませんか？再開は30分後ではいかがでしょうか？
異論はありません。
いいでしょう。再開後は前向きな交渉ができることを祈っている。
フランスは今日にでも援助量を確定させたいはず。追加については二次交渉で行えばいいはずなのに。
準将、こちらを。
全員着席いただきたい。休憩は中止だ。
Oh boy.
今しがた国境線に展開しているフランス軍のほとんどがダミーであることが判明した。フランスおよびカナダ両国に問いたい。一体何を考えている？また戦争でも起こすつもりか？
我々には戦争をするつもりはない。あくまでも対等に交渉したいだけです。戦争を欲しているのはそちらでしょう。それを憂うのであれば、今すぐに軍を引き、支援物資を送ることです。
何をした？なぜそこまで強行しようとする？
準将、続報です。
なんだと？これは
間違いありません。
Oh no.
貴様、これを最初から。
準将、何があったのでしょうか？
ノーラッドと OSP1400 が何者かに占拠された。
Oh no.
衛星軌道上に配備されたハイブ迎撃用の核ミサイルは全て何者かに支配された。
Oh. Fetch! Oh man! That's really, really
さ
bad.
て交渉を再開しましょうか。
エレンちゃん、これ日米両軍衛士のほとんどが集められてますよね。
Oh boy. Oh, what a nightmare. Why? I understand that that was kind of already in motion and like it was hinted at the beginning. Oh, wait. Remember the beginning of the first episode where they went to the low oxygen zone at the US Capitol and they were looking for something. They were looking for some kind of like specific item. What if that item was access to NORAD codes and the space fleet? Like, what if that's what they were finding at the Capitol? That makes sense that like, if they knew where to look, they might be able to find that information there. Interesting.
そうみたいね。
Crap. Because now that means that this pause, that this, like, peace talks has inadvertently given the French all the power now. As many surface pilots assembling in one place while the peace conference is still going on. I got a bad feeling about this.
立浪なんかあったなこいつは。
Unfortunately, I think it already has.
だろうな。交渉すると見せかけておいての奇襲、あるいはその逆。
It's kind of worse, honestly.
ベータって可能性はねえか。それならこんな集め方しねえだろ。
Yeah, he's right. So either we're gonna start something, or the French pulled one over on us already. Whatever it is, there's a good chance we'll be settling things on the battlefield. All our efforts were in vain.
これより状況を説明する。
ノーラッドと OSP1400 は占拠？ブラフだ。コロラドは大陸のど真ん中だぞ。そうやすやすと侵入を許すものか。
無論容易ではありませんでしたよ。しかし准将、あなたはアメリカを過大評価しすぎている。今や北米はただの不毛の大地ですよ。
He's right.
仮に占拠したところで核攻撃の承認には大統領の証文が。まさか。
Yeah, they were teasing this way at the beginning. Dang.
アメリカの現状を直視した方がいい。我々の方が生きていくことに必死だったということです。では、我々の要求を受け入れていただけるかどうか、改めて協議しましょうか。
知らぬ者はいないと思うが、一応軽く説明をしておく。これは国連宇宙軍が展開するシャドウと呼ばれるシステムの概要図だ。
Okay, so this is something you guys were mentioning to me, but yeah. So, intruders are detected, they engage with a nuclear engager, and then they have like a perimeter to also engage to prevent new hive pods from entering atmosphere.
シャドウとは月面上の背部から地球に向けて射出される着陸ユニットを迎撃するためのシステムだ。このシャドウ最終防衛ラインをアーテミシーズという。
That makes sense. American orbit port currently inoperable. French orbital port burned up in atmosphere.
月面背部から射出された着陸ユニットはここに到達する以前に破壊されていることが望ましいが、それが不可能だった場合にはこの衛星群をもって撃墜する。この各投射衛星は無人で核ミサイルが搭載されており、制御権は宇宙軍を保有する各国に委ねられている。
Right.
制御の方法には複数あり、最も標準的なものが3機の起動口にて行うというものだ。
Okay, so the French one is gone. The American one was inoperable, and then the international one is still operational, and that's the one they took.
ただし衛星はノーラッドでも管理されており、各国の独断で核ミサイルを使用することはできない。
Gotcha. So you needed 2 points.
しかしながら 今から45分前、コロラド州シャイアンマウンテン空軍基地にあるノーラッドの地下司令部がフランス軍によって占拠された。
Yeah, this is bad.
また国際宇宙軌道港 OSP1400 もフランスの手に落ちたという情報が入っている。
They have it all. They have it all.
この軌道港は3機あるうちの1機で、国連が所有する最も多くの衛星を制御できるものだ。なお残る2機の軌道港だが、アメリカ所有のものは完全に機能停止状態、フランス所有のものは大気圏内に墜落したことが確認されている。この OSP1400 にカフツ川のシンパが潜り込んでいた可能性が高い。現在真偽を確認中だが、磁気嵐などの影響で回線が断絶し、通信が困難な状況だ。
Oh man.
とはいえ先日定期通信後にカナダのウィニペグ空軍基地と通信を試みた形跡が傍受されており、事実である可能性が高いと言わざるを得ない。そうだ、ウィニペグ空軍基地はシャイアンマウンテンが不慮の事態に陥った際、その権限を受け継ぐことになっていたカナダ領の基地だ。
If the French had that too, then
帝国軍のために補足すると、ノーラッドは1958年に米華共同で指揮監督することを前提に設立されたが、この関係は数十年前に破綻している。1974年にアサバスカで核によるベータ降下ユニット破壊作戦が行われたのは知っているだろう。無論両国合意の作戦だったが、核の影響を甘く見たカナダ側と保障問題で対立が生じ、以降両国の軍事的信頼関係も崩れ、アメリカ軍が締め出される事態に陥った。
it's one of those things again where it's like it was probably the right choice and it saved a lot of lives, but it sucks.
ノーラッドは指揮監督の在り方を見直さざるを得なくなったが、政治的理由によってカナダとの共同体制という建前は残された。
Oh man.
実際にもカナダに対して何らかのシステム的制限を加えたわけではない。政府はカナダと完全に決別することをリスクと判断していたのだ。
But now
よってアメリカはシャイアンマウンテンの安全性を極限まで保つことで、カナダ側に権限を引き渡さぬように努めていた。
Oh man. Generally speaking, this wasn't a bad idea. The Canadians only managed to take control because of all the crap that went down after Babylon.
では話を戻す。
So I'm guessing that the Canadians are also being held at gunpoint, essentially.
シャイアンマウンテンと OSP1400 が同時に占拠されたとなると、フランスはアーテミシーズの核投射衛星に配備された核兵器を地上に投下できるようになる。核の投下目標として可能性が高いのは、第一にシャイアンマウンテン空軍基地。ノーラッドの権限を完全にウィニペグに移した後は、地下司令部の壊滅を図ると思われる。核対策が十二分に取られている地下司令部ではあるが、全てが開港していれば話が変わってくる。そして第2の目標はここシアトルだ。
Yeah. Yeah, go figure.
生産プラントの存在が10日を思いとどまらせると考える者もいるだろうが、それは的を外した認識だ。シャイアンマウンテンとは違い、シアトルに本当に核を落とす必要はない。その可能性を持って市民全員を人質に取るだけでいいのだからな。
Exactly.
無論いざとなれば核を落としてしまえばいいという理屈だ。
フランスもカナダも頭がいっちまってるんじゃねえか。日米滅ぼしておいて自分たちだけでベータと戦っていけるとでも思ってんのかよ。
They very well might. Or of course they also could just go like, maybe they're wondering why we haven't gone scorched earth on that beta hive already.
ではもう一つ最新の情報を伝えておこう。先ほど4カ国会議の会場でフランス代表からこの事実が明らかにされた。
Oh boy.
身柄を拘束したり交渉を打ち切るなどした場合には即時核を落とすと言っているらしい。
Of course. What the F?
現在米日の代表は極めて恥知らずな脅迫を受けている。彼らの要求は即時110万トンの食料援助を行うこと、生産プラントをカナダ領へ即時移設させること。
Good grief. We inadvertently gave them everything they wanted and more.
アメリカ東海岸都市部のフランスへの恒久的租借、東海岸に展開しているアメリカ軍の西海岸への引き上げだ。諸君らは国民の未来のため限界の交渉を行っている我らの代表者に 理不尽な脅迫に屈服せざるを得ない屈辱を味わわせることをどう思うかね。最後にもう一つ明らかにしておこう。先ほどから疑問を持っている者もいると思うが、ノーラッドの核使用承認の手続きについてだ。核の使用には合衆国大統領の証文による承認が必要だ。ではフランスはどのようにしてそれを叶えたのか。
Oh, they were clever.
これは私の推測と断っておくが、彼らは大解放直後に元大統領の亡骸を発見し、それを連れ去ったのだ。
Yeah.
我々が未だ大統領の発見に至らないのはそれが理由だ。
Gosh darn it.
ノーラッドへの侵攻にしても OSP1400 の選挙にしても一朝一夕にできることではない。
Yeah,
相当以前から綿密に準備されていたはずだ。
the plan likely originally was to kick off tensions between Canada and the US and then use that as the cover blind to get into NORAD. Which was risky though, because America was going to nuke Canada, but France wouldn't really care about that because they would see it would solidify Canada into their pocket. Yeah, okay, I see how that was planned out, and then they would have a reason to retaliate, and they wouldn't even have to negotiate at that point.
つまり我々が無酸素地帯と化したワシントン DC に救援を送り、事態を把握した時にはすでに彼らは我らのホームに土足で入り込み、非業の最後を迎えた我らの指導者を敬うどころか利用し、尊厳を踏みにじり魂を侮辱していたのだ。諸君らの隣人がかくも強欲極悪で額に銃を向けてきたら、諸君らは家族を守るためにどうするか。この荒廃した世界で手を取り合うことを拒否し、力によって私欲を満たそうとする輩を諸君らはどうするのか。私は断じて許さない。世界の秩序を乱す者は全力で叩き伏せる。それがアメリカ軍人たる私に課せられた使命だ。現時刻をもって我々は反攻作戦を開始する。そして完全なる勝利をもたらす。
Oh man.
諸君らの奮戦に強く期待する。では引き続き作戦概要を説明する。我々の目標はシャイアンマウンテン空軍基地地下司令部の奪還だ。 OSP1400 への攻撃は非現実的であるため考慮しない。
Yeah.
先ほども言ったがここに核が落とされる可能性は高い。基地は迅速に奪還しなければならない。タイムリミットはノーラッドの権限移譲手続きが完了すると予測されるおよそ24時間。これを超えると敵は基地を内部から破壊し、ダメ押しに核を投下するだろう。
Makes sense.
諸君らは現在最速で目標に到達できる戦術機部隊だ。この戦力に道中で合流する戦術機部隊、陸軍特殊部隊を加えノーラッドを襲撃する。
But interestingly, it sounds like this will actually be an on-foot operation for a lot of the pilots. So the pilots are going to all go there, but a lot of them are actually going to have to go in with tactical gear because NORAD obviously is built for personnel, not for vehicles, especially TSFs. Sounds fine on paper, except I've been doing a head count. There's barely 2 battalions worth of pilots in this room. I have my doubts about this, not gonna lie. And who's the reinforcements gonna be? The National Guard? Because if that's the case, there's no way they'll put their weight in actual battle.
だが地下司令部は対核戦争用地下基地であり、戦術機だけでの制圧は不可能だ。
Exactly.
よって我々戦術機部隊の任務は多数の特殊部隊隊員を基地内に突入させることになる。
So I guess so maybe the pilots won't have to get out of their TSFs, but they'll still have to, but in that case, that means they're bringing enough special forces that they're going to be very at risk, likely in helicopters. And one TSF could take down a field of helicopters, no problem. Oh, now it makes a lot more sense. We ain't in the main event. TSF units are the only to neutralize the enemy's defenses, a carbon copy of the strategy we used to recapture the production plant. But they might remember that.
少佐、質問よろしいでしょうか。
許可する。
機甲部隊の支援は期待してよろしいんでしょうか。
No way. There's no way there's tanks that are mobilized enough to be able to get there.
第一波攻撃に機甲部隊は参加しない。
What? Okay, but think about it. Logistics, people.
では2個大隊程度の戦力でシャイアンマウンテンを落とせというのですか。
そうだ。
Are you kidding me? You know the French have their own TSF units ready to deal with an attack, right? There's a brute force approach, and then there's whatever the heck this is.
日本帝国本土防衛軍シアトル駐留軍の小牧大尉だ。まずはこれを見てもらおう。
これは目標周辺の大気圧を示したものだ。出どころについては割愛するが、アメリカ軍の甚大な努力によって作成された信頼に値するものであることは間違いない。
Alright, I want to take a look at this real quick. I'm not sure exactly what these fields mean, but I'm guessing that because the mountains are higher, they're likely to be in low pressure areas. And so I'm guessing green, which is like most likely more like the valleys, is like breathable air, and then it gets less and less, and then actual like NORAD itself is a high pressure zone, is a low pressure zone where you need suits to survive. And if that's the case, that does make this a lot more complicated, but it also limits the amount of forces that the French can have deployed on the surface. Oh, nope, not the backlog.
見ての通り、目標周辺は気圧が極めて低い。年長や装備の問題から、機甲部隊には現状以上の対策が必要だと判明した。
Fetch. So, oh man.
対策後に随時出撃させる予定だが、どれだけ早くとも到着まで2日はかかる。
So that's impressive. Sounds reasonable. Armored vehicles are slow compared to TSFs and Bradley fighting vehicles.
このため、鉄道での運搬も検討しているが、妨害工作として線路が破壊されている可能性は高い。
Exactly.
そうでなくてもタイムリミットは24時間。つまり我々には機甲部隊の戦場到着を待つ猶予はない。戦術機と陸戦部隊のみで作戦を実行せざるを得ないのだ。
I'd also argue 24 hours is a hard deadline, but I'm guessing that the French did everything they could and they timed things properly with the storms to make it so the communication that the site was down and taken over would be as delayed as possible. So while 24 hours is the hard deadline, we're probably several hours into that already. So I'm guessing a more realistic timetable is 18 hours. 18 hours to make this a success.
なお、今作戦では航空爆撃も期待するな。該当地域の正確な気流、気圧データがない上、基地の対爆構造を凌駕するだけの爆撃は不可能だ。
Yeah, exactly.
さて、改めて伝えるが、現地の気圧は極めて低い。酸素供給を受けずに行動した場合、脳浮腫や肺水腫を起こす可能性がある。
Exactly. Heck, even if oxygen levels are low enough, well, no, guns should still work because they're self-contained, but a lot of things, like, unless you have, like, jet fuel and stuff, like, conventional fire wouldn't even work. So the worst case of altitude sickness ever, read you loud and clear.
各自パルスオキシメーターの値には常に注意しろ。管制ユニット内は安全でも、外に出ることになるかもしれん。また機密ヘルメットの作動確認は必ずしておくように。
Yeah, make sure you know how to put your mask on. She kind of does, though. I've only ever used the airtight helmet during training, and I'm pretty sure I'm not a special case.
また、年長の問題は、機甲部隊だけではなく、ジャンプユニットにも影響すると考えられる。
Yeah, like I said, with the lack of oxygen, fuel doesn't work as well. Obviously, with proper jet fuel, it's designed to work at low atmosphere, and I'm guessing TSFs operate with similar, types of fuelage. But at the same time, that doesn't mean it's not different. Like, the yield of power is going to be slightly off. The mixes might need to be adjusted. Now, that when you're anticipating that in something like a fighter jet, you can, anticipate it properly and, adjust as you go. But with a TSF that was never designed with the idea of flight in high atmosphere because of the danger of lasers, in a low pressure environment, which is a simulated high atmosphere zone, TSFs are just not designed for that type of fine tuning. And you've got so many complicated systems on a TSF anyway that while it would normally be a bit of an annoyance or an imbalance for a fighter jet that has two primary thrusters, for a TSF that's probably got like 16 thruster sets, like 4 main ones and then a bunch of like corrective ones to keep things stable, any one of them having even slight wobble all simultaneously is just asking for danger, just asking for something to just go off. And then you're talking about live fire combat where any damage you take is just going to be exasperated, because damage could break your hermetic seals, which means that you have to deal with atmospheric problems in your cabin, and you might not recognize that because lack of breathing air is actually something you don't tend to notice as your brain starts to shut down from a lack of oxygen. And then 2, that also means that like you're compounding the issue of like anything could go wrong in a ideal situation with the TSF in these conditions. Then take a damage where some of your thrusters start going a little wonky. Part of the reason why they'd have so many is because they need to be able to operate when they're duress. But now you're adding lack of atmosphere and those fluctuations to that problem. It's a hodgepodge of just nastiness.
ジェットの使用は可能だが、現地で調整を行いつつ柔軟に対処してもらいたい。
Oh, also, another thing about using jets in low atmosphere zones. Jets are creating thrust, but the thrust also it's okay, jet fuel creates its own thrust. It's not reliant on atmosphere, but atmospheric pressure does give something to push off of, so it does matter. Yeah, we'll just have to tinker around with the jets in the middle of a fight. No big deal.
これに伴い、ロケットモーターの使用頻度が増大するはずだ。推進剤の消費も増えると予想される。残量には十分注意せよ。
Yeah, that again, the propellant consumption will rise again because without as much atmosphere to push off of, the jets just need more gumption. That's why, like shuttles and like rocket craft, they have to be so big. It's not so much that they need that force to start lifting them off. It's that they have to be able to accelerate dramatically as they leave the atmosphere, because they have to compensate for the lack of pushing, but they also have to reach speeds that are just insanely fast.
また今回はベータ戦以上に戦闘中の補給が困難だ。そのタイミングが勝敗を分ける可能性がある。
Oh, good.
各自己の機体のみでなく、両機小隊の推進剤残量にも注意を払うように。
The more she keeps talking, the more it sounds like we're gonna bite it today.
ここまでで何か質問は？
付近にはコロラドスプリングスという町があります。住人の避難は行わないのですか？
Aw, Lilia, thinking ahead.
行わない。周辺住人の大多数は死亡していると予測されている。生き残っていたとすれば、すでに戦闘区域外に避難しているはずだ。
You're saying the French went that far? They unloaded TSFs on civilians? Holy crap. That would be... Curse you, French!
了解。
Dang, that's cold. We're supposed to at least pay lip service to protecting civilians and a lot of stuff, but I guess I can afford to care about the niceties today.
諸君らには厳しい任務を強いることになる。だが我々はこの作戦を何としても成功に導かねばならない。
Yeah, FYI everyone, you're going toward NORAD, which they want to destroy anyway, and to plan the coup de grace is a nuke. So if you're here and we fail, we all die. Lovely.
正義がどちらにあるかを明らかにしなければならないのだ。我々は分散して接近し、ごく短時間で敵の首を跳ね落とす。基地の奪還に成功すれば戦争は終わる。彼らにはそれを継続するための資産が残されていない。
But will we after this? It's do or die.
では最後に一つ補足がある。今回日本帝国から近衛部隊を派遣してもらうこととなった。
Ooh, interesting. Oh, he's there. Things are that bad, huh?
一個戦術機小隊のみの参戦だが、腕は確かだ。
It's only one, but it's our boy. From the look of it, it's all dudes in black uniforms, the honorary members.
以上だ。詳細な作戦は後ほど転送する。個別のブリーフィングは移動中に行うように。解散。
Are we actually going to be able to see Takaru in his element? Holy crap.
後で転送だと今立案してんのかよ。今回もまともなことにはなりそうもないな。
Yeah, yeah.
ああ。
立浪注意。
Hey, Miana.
というわけで詳細に関しては後ほど説明に上がります。ヘルメットの確認自分でもしておいてくださいね。
Well, that kicked off. Yeah. So we're gonna be ending here, and it looks like we're kicking this with insane mission already. Oh my gosh, you Frenchies! Never underestimate the French. They're terrifying in this universe. They literally are holding the whole planet with holding a gun to the side of the planet, and they're saying like, hey, you know what? We'll let the beta have it at this point. Like, you better give us what we want or else we're just gonna kill everybody. including probably us in a protracted long way, but still, you just assume that you're all our bees now, like, it's just us. Fetch, man. Holy crap. Oh, I'm not gonna sleep well tonight. I don't know about you guys, but yeah, it's giving me a lot to think about. But such as things. This is the day after. This is Muv-Luv. Get ready for just the worst. But it's a good story, so hope you guys are excited for next week. We'll see what happens. Hope you guys are having a good end of your year. I've got some interesting stuff to run about, but keep in mind that we are coming up on some very special events. I have a patron cast I do during like Christmas time that I make public for everybody. It's just going to kind of be me ranting about like my thoughts on the channel, things that are going on, things that I like, things I'm looking forward to, kind of a all cards on the table type of situation. I also am preparing because we are going to be having another rounds of votes kind of in January, you could say, about dictating and kind of seeing what you guys are most excited to see on the channel on slots that are relatively open. There's only a few of them that are going to be relatively available. I think we're looking at Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Thursdays are kind of spoken for already, at least the start of Trails in the Sky, and if I enjoy it, I'm probably going to just chain them all together. So that could be another, like, kind of like Mondays, how they're kind of just Muv-Luv Mondays, like, chained together. That's kind of what we're going to be doing, but that means I want to keep Tuesdays and Wednesdays to be more flexible. So just keep that in mind. If there's a particular VN that I haven't covered yet that you really want to see, or a kind of like narrative based game, kind of like I've been playing like Knights of the Republic or something along those lines, just keep that in mind. Make recommendations for me on the Discord. There'll be things that'll be taken into consideration, and then the channel will vote on the top candidates that I select. That will just be kind of guaranteed to happen in the next year. Then I give myself wiggle room too, like, so down the line as things happen I can change things up. Also keep in mind, if you know something that's going to be releasing in the near future or has just released, keep that on the table as well. One I've been having my eye on, but for personal play, was Harvestelia, just because I enjoy farming sims like Stardew Valley, and I enjoy like JRPGs, and it looks like they tried to marry those two, and I've heard a lot of people saying positive things, so that's an option, of course, if that's like, and that's an example of like something newer, just to see if you'd be interested in. So like, you might see that on there. I kind of want to gauge what other things I hear about from everyone, but we'll get there when we get there. Thank you guys so much for being here. Hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and for my Americans, thank you, and have a great, Turkey Day. And remember to spare some thoughts for people, especially indigenous peoples who were not treated very fairly in American history. Like, let's make sure and like recognize that, and be better than our ancestors in those regards. Anyway, enough of that. You'll be hearing that all week from me. But until the next video, watching me, or see me next. I'll see you there.